Thank you for joining my channel, everybody. God delivered me. This is Ryan Nolan. I appreciate you joining this channel and this video. If you like this video, please hit the like, subscribe, or share button below. There's also a description box with a link if you're interested in donating, and if you do that, I greatly appreciate it. This video is also going to go on my other channel, Walking into the Light, which talks more about how the Matrix works, how we have been living in darkness for a long period of time, and how we're going through a spiritual battle, and that light has prevailed. And we are going through the phase now where light's coming in and God is delivering us from evil. And that's what that channel is about. This channel is more about the fact that I was born into a satanic cult, that I was unaware of the fact that I was born into a satanic cult, or as I like to call it, an organized criminal ring, because they were doing a lot of things behind the scenes, whether it be plotting murders, stealing money from people, creating a lot of havoc in other people's lives. So I wasn't the only one that they were doing this to. But the purpose of this video is to talk about the generational curses that nobody talks about in the world these days. It's been sliding under the radar, and people all over the world are unaware of the fact that generational curses are real. And the purpose of these generational curses is to make sure that specific spiritual beings that have a destiny that has a high calling from God don't receive the spiritual gifts, the spiritual inheritances. And what I'm talking about there is the intuition, the clairvoyance, the telepathy, the telekinesis, the ability to read people's energy, the divine intuition that we as human beings, we all have the ability to tap into these divine gifts. But certain individuals have a high consciousness level when they come into this realm, and they have the ability to tap into these divine gifts more easily than others because of their higher consciousness abilities. But the way the world is structured right now is to subdue the consciousness level, and that is done through our food, through the chemicals in the air, through music, through what you watch on TV. So there's ways that the devil is trying to make sure that the consciousness level of humanity does not increase. And I talk a lot about this in my channel, Walking into the Light, where the devil is trying to subdue the consciousness level of humanity. And God obviously is doing the exact opposite. He's trying to increase the consciousness level of humanity, because when that happens, when we increase our consciousness level, we become more connected to God. We feel more one with God. And we also realize that every single person that we interact with is another aspect of ourselves, because we're all one consciousness. So the higher your consciousness level is, the more empowered you become as an individual. And the more empowered you become as an individual, the more able you are to allow other people around you to receive that same type of energy and to learn from you. And it can definitely become infectious, so that the consciousness can spread. And that's exactly what the devil doesn't want to do. And my purpose here on this planet was to work with God and to develop a relationship with Him, and to have a high calling when it comes to raising the higher vibrational frequencies of humanity. And the devil knew that that was my destiny when I came into this world. So in order to subvert that, he used a generational curse that was placed upon my bloodline thousands of years ago, or I'm not sure if it was thousands of years ago. I'm not sure how long ago it was, but I know that my ancestral lineage was cursed, and my ancestors have gone through the same curses that I went through in this lifetime. And the curse is to be surrounded by people that you trust, and that have that trust used against you. So in my case, I was cursed with having a family around me that was very low vibrational, that was into criminal activity, that had actually kidnapped me as a child, and they weren't even my real family. So not only were they not my real family, and I thought that they were my whole life until 3 years ago, but behind the scenes, they were attacking me through spiritual warfare, because they had been possessed by demons. And the devil had planned this for a long period of time to make sure that these lower vibrational energies were always surrounding me, so that the demons that could possess the bodies of my karmic family members could be possessed, and then be manipulated through the demons. So the demons would whisper into the ears as they're possessing the bodies of my karmic family members to be jealous of me because of the gifts and the inheritance that I'm supposed to receive, being part of the ancestral bloodline that I'm part of. And so that was intended to make them very jealous, very envious, and very angry, and always looking down upon me because they don't want to see me succeed. So all of my family members, my immediate family, so that meant my mother, my father, or my stepfather, and then my karmic brother and karmic sister, were all part of the plot, and we're all being manipulated by the devil through these demonic possessions to go after me. And here I am, completely oblivious and naive to the fact that this is happening all my life. And I'm putting out my trust and my faith into my family members, thinking that they're my family. And who would really think that their family was out to get them to begin with, right? So I'm thinking that I'm a typical person that has nothing to worry about. And as I was progressing through my life, I realized that my life wasn't going the way that I felt like it should, because I felt like I had the right mindset, I had the right intentions, and at that time I wasn't close to God, though. I wasn't praying to God every day like I am now. I wasn't as one with God as I am now. So because of the disconnection with God, and because of the lower vibrational frequency that I was in, because I was born into a world that was dark, right? Because we're living in a fallen world right now. So when you're born in the world today, you're born into darkness. And the devil and his, all of his minions are using different forms and means in order to subdue the consciousness level of humanity and to go after specific targeted individuals, me being one of those. And for myself, I was born into this darkness, and as a child, I was attacked repeatedly by my immediate family, by my karmic friends, who I thought were my friends, but it turned out to be not even my friends, that they were all ganging up with my family against me, bullying me spiritually. So that meant, through elementary school, middle school, and high school, my family was recruiting people to come against me. So they would actually actively go out and recruit people that I thought were my friends. And that goes back to what I stated before, where they were, the whole plan and plot was to use my trust against me, because I'm an empath. And I'll go above and beyond when it comes to accepting the behavior of others, because I tend, as an empath, when people, send negative energy, or I have negative energy around me, I absorb that energy as an empath. And the devil knows this, and the darkness knows this, that empaths absorb the energy. So as I was growing up, I was absorbing a lot of negative energy that was being done behind the scenes. And I thought it was me. I thought I was the one that was having all these problems. I thought I was the one that was having negative thoughts about myself. I thought I was the one that was, having all of these dark, things happen to me and negative experiences happening to me. I blamed myself. And that was part of the plot as well, was to create a self-fulfilling prophecy to where the targeted individual starts blaming themselves because they're the empath, they're the ones that are going to absorb the energy, and then they go down a rabbit hole that they can never find themselves to get out of, and they're for the remainder of their life disconnected from God, unaware of the darkness that they're in, and unaware of their true potential, and unaware of the divine calling that God has in their life, because the family members and the targeted, or the karmic friends. And then not only that, but there were other extensions of the spiritual warfare that was done against me. There was the law enforcement. There was the justice system. So my family would go out, and this is all part of the curse that was placed upon my ancestral lineage, because my ancestors dealt with this as well. They dealt with the same scenario that I was dealing with. That's why it was a curse, and that's why I had to deal with it. And I had to break the cycle. And I came to this world in order to reincarnate and break the cycle, which I did do. But I had to go through a lot of pain and a lot of suffering in order to get there. But the reason for this video is to let people know that this is real. But back to what I was saying, that the extension from my family and friends that were coming against me went out as far as to the justice system, healthcare providers tampering with my medication. It went as far as to the justice system to illegally say that I had mental health issues and that I wasn't able to receive certain amounts of allotments of money that I was due throughout my life, because my ancestral lineage had left me an inheritance that I was supposed to receive a certain amount of money at a certain age. And my family would steal this money and go to the justice system and say I had mental health issues, and that for that reason I shouldn't be, able to receive the money. And remember, this is all happening behind the scenes. So I'm not aware that I am owed an inheritance to begin with. I don't know my family is against me, and I don't know that this isn't my real family. So I'm in the complete dark right now at this point for most of my life. And so this went on for a long period of time, where my family, my friends, and all the people that I used to think were close to me were all ganging up. All of them were ganging up against me, one person. And and that's the thing, is that when they did this, it made them feel powerful. That's why they did it, because it made them feel powerful to think that they could change the course and the destiny of someone that had a high calling in God's eyes. And that's why they felt so empowered and so powerful when they did it. And they felt even more powerful the more people they recruited to do it. Because as we remember as children, and as I remember growing up in high school, you could always remember those times where you'd hear people gossiping about somebody, but the gossip became more and more obvious, more and more negative, more and more vicious, the more people that came together to gang up on one person, right? And that was sort of the mentality here, is that the more piranhas that came, the more powerful the piranhas felt. And that's what happened. They felt entitled to my life. And that's exactly what the devil wanted. The devil wanted to make these lower vibrational energies that were unaware of just how wicked they are to start feeling as though that they are the ones in control of my life, that they're in control of my life, that they're playing God. That's really ultimately what the devil wanted, for them to create so much fear within me that I started manifesting so much fear in my life, and I was starting to blame myself to create more fear and create a world for myself that is all based on fear, all based on the idea that I'm separate from my experience. And that's exactly what the darkness wanted. The darkness wants these targeted individuals, and I'm not the only one. There's other individuals just like me that are being targeted, and that's the purpose of this video, is to bring awareness to people, to let people know this is happening so that they can bring up their awareness of this and fight against it through faith. But this was all intended by the darkness to help, to try to force me to manifest a life of fear. Because when that happens, that fear spreads throughout the world, and more important, more people can actually feel that fear, and it allows the rest of the world to become more fearful as well with the people that I interact with. And because I have spiritual gifts and I have powers that I was unaware of, I have the ability to manifest rapidly. But I wasn't aware of that. But if I was receiving all of this fear and believing it was based on my own doing, and I'm gonna create a life of fear, and I'm gonna manifest that rapidly, right? Because of my abilities that I was unaware of. And that was the whole goal. And that was the whole goal of the generational curse, is to get as many people and individuals to use the trust that I have naturally within me towards other people, being who I am inherently as an empath, as a spiritual being who had a high calling with God this lifetime, was being used against me, that trust. And to get as many people, as many industries, as many companies. So, when I was growing up and when I went into early adulthood, even, I started working for, in sales and had all these jobs in sales. And all of the companies that I worked for were working in tandem with my family to attack me. So not only was my family attacking me, my friends, the justice system was against me because they felt I had mental health issues. And my family would place dark divination upon the justice system by putting a cloak of confusion or a cloak of some kind, so that they wouldn't be able to discern the truth, which is that I wasn't mentally challenged in any way. So my family members were doing these things, preemptively, saying that I had mental health issues, to take inheritances, to take money. They would also preemptively say that I had mental health issues because they knew if I ever found out the truth of what was going on and I went to the police, or if I went to the FBI or wherever I went to, the FBI would be skeptical of me because of all of the claims that I have mental health issues had been preemptively planned. So this was all plotted, strategically, to make sure that if I ever figured this out, that I wouldn't even have an avenue to be compensated for what had happened to me, right? So this was all about covering all of their bases if I didn't find out, covering their bases if I did find out. And this was the purpose. And to get as many industries, not just law enforcement and the justice system, but also healthcare, to get healthcare providers to tamper with my medication to make sure my consciousness is subdued, to steal things from my house when I wasn't home. So they'd have people that are watching my home that would watch to see when I would leave, so they could break into my home, steal things, bring it back to the house. And this is all still remember, this is all still while I think they're my family, and I would still go to dinner with them on every once in a while, and they're behind the scenes doing these things. It's so unbelievable. And that's why I think a lot of people have a hard time believing this, is because of the surreal part of it. But it is true, and it happened to me. And the purpose of this is to get this awareness out. But anyway, as I would, and they would steal stuff from my house. They would come in and steal stuff. And the reason they would do that is to do witchcraft and voodoo on my personal materials, because they're able to send spells based on my personal items. And that's what they would do. And they were doing this for a long period of time without me knowing. And they were getting more and more people. The more that I was going on my path, and the more that my consciousness level was rising, and they could see this. That's the other thing that was really, that I look back on and I think, wow, that was a miracle that I got through it. Without God, I wouldn't be here. That's the fact of the matter, because God got me through everything. God is the answer for everything. And that is the main point that I wanted to make, is that God can get you through anything, because God got me through a family that wanted to kill me, through friends that wanted to kill me, through hitmen that were assigned to kill me by my family. They actually hired hitmen to kill me. And I got through that because God protected me, because of my faith in him. But the reason I was able to get to that point was because I was able to get through the darkness and all of the attacks that they were doing behind the scenes. My consciousness level started continuing to rise because of God's, his loving hand in my life. He knew what my calling in life was, which was to raise the vibrational frequency of humanity. And he wanted to make sure that I got through this. So he was lovingly helping me through the darkness to bring me to the light of who I really am, as they're attacking me behind the scenes and I'm unaware of who they are and what they're doing to me. But as my consciousness was rising throughout my life, they would recruit more people from different industries, from different areas of my life, different companies that I work for, to come against me. And they would convince people to come against me through money, through promises that they would get a piece of the inheritance that they stole from me, that they would get a certain percentage of the money, they would get a certain allotment of money, that they would get fame and some sort of credibility from being able to take down someone that had a high calling in life. So there was those types of greedy, type of selfish people that came against me. And these, once again, were all people that for the most part, I trusted. And that's how much darkness that I was in. I was blaming myself for all the things that were happening to me, that I didn't see the evil and the wickedness in others, because I felt so alone and isolated. I wasn't able to see spiritually the souls of the people that I was trusting. I was so absorbed within darkness. And once again, that was part of the plot. But as I grew and grew spiritually and grew consciously, my expansion in faith grew. And I started to really understand, and I started to see the wickedness and the evil that was around me. It was almost as if the lights were slowly turned on in my life. It wasn't like overnight. It was slowly, but you could slowly see the erosion of the faith that I had in my family and friends and all the people I trusted slowly came back within me to the faith that I had in God. And the more the faith that I had in God, the more consciousness and energy would infuse my soul. And with that became more clarity about what's happening in my world, and more clarity about who I truly am. And when that happened, the lights finally came on and I realized what was happening. And I was able to understand just how much wickedness and evil was surrounding me my entire life, and how much of a generational curse I had been placed under, and just how comprehensive it is. So I don't know how many people have gone against me, but there are thousands of people that have gone against me, that have tried to kill me. Not thousands of people trying to kill me, but there are thousands of people that have been coordinated to come against me to kill me, with my family's help, because my family had immediate access to me. And through the grace of God and the mercy of God, I got through it. And I was able to get to the point where I am now, to realize that that the faith that I put outside of myself into others is now within me. I've now placed that faith within myself, the one self that is within, and that made me come to the realization that the only thing that's real in this world is the consciousness that lies within you, which is God, and that everything you see is simply an illusion. And if you believe in the illusion, you can be manipulated by the illusion, because the master of the illusion is the devil, right? So if you believe in this world and you give all of your faith to the world, then and the people that are in the world that you trust are actually there designed specifically to take you down. And I'm talking about people that are in my family, reincarnated here specifically to make sure that I didn't get to where I'm at right now. That's the whole purpose of them being here. And so that's why when they came to this world, they had no desire to help themselves, to fuel themselves with positivity, to do things for themselves like most people do. They didn't get joy within the self. They got joy out of destroying the others. So the devil picked the perfect people to manipulate, right? He picked the people that could be easily manipulated because of the lower vibrational aspects of themselves. They're completely unaware of how wicked they are and the evil things that they do. And they feel more powerful by the more people that come together to bully one person. Those are the types of lower vibrational energies that the devil targeted. And it creates that environment where these people turn towards the one targeted individual that has no idea that this is happening. And they all gang up on that one person, and they feed off of the energy and the fear that comes from attacking that person relentlessly. And when that person starts to feel good about themselves, they push them back down, or they try to push them back down somehow through spell work, through voodoo, or whatever it is, to ensure that they never reach a point where they feel good about themselves, because that's the whole point. They do not want that. They want that person to continually feel bad about themselves, to suffer, to not have anything, to become homeless, to lose all of their home, their financial possessions, to feel worthless, so they could feed off of that and make themselves even feel more powerful. Because look, in their mind, they're thinking, wow, this person had a mission in life that God intended for them to have, and we took that away from them. How powerful are we? That's what they're thinking. And that infuses that. It's called narcissism. That's the root of narcissism, is to feel like you can actually rule and put yourself in place of God and have power over God. And that's how these people felt, and it increased that narcissistic energy within them. And they felt entitled to my life until I broke that generational curse. And that's the good news, everybody, is that you can break these generational curses. And that's what I want to say right now, is that through God and God only, and through the faith of Jesus in Jesus Christ and the finished work of the cross, one can overcome anything, not just a generational curse, but anything that's happening in your life. You can overcome by putting all your faith into what's inside of you. Because like I talked about before, the change that happened for me, that changed everything, was my faith in putting everything towards Jesus Christ and not to the world. Because when you put all your faith towards yourself and you detach yourself from the world and you say, God, I don't know what's best for me. I am not my body. I am not my ego. I have no control over my life, because we really don't. Nobody has control over their life. But when you come to the realization of that, and you let go of trying to control everything, and in my case, I stopped trying to control my world, and I just let go of trying to control everything, I started to realize that I started feeling better about myself, because God started, the consciousness level in me started to rise. And with that, I became more aware of who I am. And see, the thing is, when you become more aware of who you are, in my case, I started becoming more aware of the fact that I am a special person, that I do have unique gifts, that I do have a calling in life, that I do have meaning, that all of the things that are happening to me aren't my fault. You start to you feel better about yourself. And as you feel better about yourself, you start to understand, I am a powerful being. I am important. And I can understand, now that I understand how important I am, I could see why other people would want to attack me. But when you don't feel good about yourself, when you feel like, the things that are happening to you are your fault, and you blame yourself, you can never see why someone else would attack you and put you in that position, because you're thinking, I'm just a little old me. Why would anybody ever need to attack me? So see, people don't understand is that as you raise your consciousness level, so much in your life changes through the understanding of how important and powerful you are to God. And that's the thing, is that everybody is. I'm not the only one. Every single human being on this planet is important to God and has a purpose in this world. And when people understand that, and when they raise their consciousness level within inside themselves, and they come to that epiphany, at that point they can understand why the world is the way it is, why the world tries to beat people down, because we are powerful, and the world doesn't want us to become powerful. Why? Because if we become powerful, we'll be able to transcend this world and be able to transcend the ego completely and be self-expressive in our ways, which we're not now, and we'll be able to be completely free to the point where we're not controlled by the world. Because right now the world controls us. Most people feel controlled by the world. They feel as though they can't do certain things unless they know what environment they're going to be in before they do it, and they know the opinion of someone else's before they say something, because it might offend the other person. See, everybody's confined and imprisoned, and they're not even realizing it. But once you pull back the faith into the world that you have in the world, and you pull it back like I did, back within yourself, through prayer, through constant meditation, through reading the Bible, this all brings back the consciousness towards yourself. It'll bring your faith from the world back to yourself. And when you do that, you bring back the consciousness level that is necessary for you to finally awaken to the fact that you are a powerful, infinite being of light. And once that happens, you can understand how everything extends from that point within your reality. You start to understand why the world is the way that it is, why you've gone through certain things in your life. Everything will make sense, and it empowers you. It allows you to overcome anything that you're going through in your life, just like it helped me overcome the most traumatic thing that I could possibly go through. And all because of the grace and mercy and the lovingness of God that I was able to get through. It's a miracle. All glory goes to God. Hallelujah. Our Father in heaven wants to do this with every single person in this world right now that's going through something. So I urge every single person here that's listening to this video to listen to what I say, not just about generational curses, that they're real and they're going on, but also to understand that there's nothing that you can't overcome with the power of your faith in God. But most importantly, your power and faith in the finished work of the cross. And what that means is that there's nothing left for you to do. It's finished. Jesus Christ died for us 2,000 years ago, so that we wouldn't have to worry about the things that people are still worrying about, because they believe that they're just an ego. But when you bring back the faith within inside yourself, you realize everything that you need to be free is already being accomplished through the cross and what Jesus did 2,000 years ago. And the only other step necessary to feel complete liberation, like I feel right now, is with your faith in Jesus Christ and the finished work of the cross. When you put that faith into that, you let go of all worries. You say, I'm not in control of my life. I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm not going to worry about making a mistake. I'm not going to worry about doing something that is going to look bad. I'm not going to worry about what other people think. In other words, I'm going to live in the moment. And that's when you become most closely associated to God, and you realize you've been with God the entire time. But now you're conscious of it. And that's when you're living in heaven. So that's what I have to say today, guys. I know that's a lot of information, but most importantly, I just want to let you know that generational curses are real, that witchcraft and voodoo and all the dark divination is real, that this is happening to star seeds, to spiritual beings all over the world right now. And people like me that are being targeted need to use their faith and also need to speak up to the authorities, to the FBI, to whoever it is that is locally in their area, to change the tide. To make sure that these people that are in their family or whoever it is that is attacking them is brought to justice. I love you guys. Stay prayed up. Amen.